What's up, my beautiful Boundless community? Kevin here. I have Aaron with me. We're going to do a little episode to introduce Aaron as one of our new Boundless coaches. And we're going to share a little bit about your fitness background, your experience, and how you stumbled upon Boundless.
Perfect.
Yeah, let's start with your fitness background.
Fitness background, sports participation. Was a big tennis player growing up. Started around 8. Carried that all the way through high school. Played singles varsity. When I got to college, I remember going to the Arc at our UCI, and I loved the Arc. At that age, I went to the gym a lot because I wanted to get big biceps and try to get a six-pack and impress all the girls. That's kind of what started it. And then it kind of kept my attention, but it was never something that I thought I would pursue as a profession.
And you started making it a profession,
Yes.
2006, right?
Yeah, in 2006.
That's 20 years ago. He has more experience than I do as a trainer. So let's talk about how you got into it and how you started in the fitness industry.
Yeah, so there was a time when I wanted to become a fireman, and I had to go back to school for that, and I wanted to work and go to school. I wanted something that had a flexible schedule. So someone had suggested, have you thought about being a personal trainer? It just wasn't on my radar at all. I had asked one of the sales advisors at a 24-hour fitness, and he said, yeah, we're hiring, and I applied, I got hired, and that's kind of how it started. I was there for 3 years, then went to LA Fitness for a year, and the majority of my career was spent at Equinox in Newport Beach. That was 10 years, up until when the pandemic happened. The day we found out there's a lot of uncertainty around that time, they told us that the gym was going to shut down. I had no idea what was going to happen. I had a garage gym I would use for myself. And so I just transitioned all my clients to the garage gym, and that's where I've been ever since.
Can you tell us what your specialty is or what you love about personal training?
There's so many things I love about personal training, but the thing that sticks out to me is the deep connection you form between you and your clients. On the surface, when I started, I was like, oh, it's cool. I'm showing people skills to keep them healthy, to keep their quality of life. And then it turned into something else that I appreciated, which was the bond you form between you and your client. You know, you wear different hats. It's not just showing them how to do the perfect push-up. You become a friend. You learn about the intricacies of their life, who they are as a person, and you're a witness to their path in life. And it's a very rewarding experience.
Can we know more about what you train? Like, what was your specialty or what you liked to help with specifically?
So, you know, I liked it all, whether it be the strength training, the nutrition. I'm very fond of Olympic lifting because it's so technical. There's so many layers to it. You could be doing it for years, and yet you keep on finding out little different things about what connects you to that movement. And aside from that, I would say probably any injury rehab really speaks to me. In 2013, I started feeling these weird sensations, especially when I was doing any jumping movements. Box jump, jumping to the pull-up bars, I would get these electrical shocks that go down both my arms. I was like, what is this, you know? Because I didn't get an isolated incident where I had any injury. So I was like, oh, maybe it's just nerve inflammation. Then it slowly progressed over 6 months to left shoulder pain. I started to have weakness. I was working out the whole time, and I was getting weaker. I remember I couldn't even string together like 8 push-ups. And the part where it really started scaring me is every time I would go for a run, occasionally I would feel like my left leg wasn't there, like I would lose sensation. And so the next day I went to get an MRI, and I remember the day after I was squatting at Equinox, and I get a call from the doctor, and he says, you need to go to the emergency room. And I go, why would I do that? He goes, we need to have emergency surgery. So you have a herniated disc that's between C5 and C6, and it's pushing on your spinal cord.
C5, C6 is
right in the neck.
Right.
You can actually see the crease where they made the incision.
Wow.
So it was compressing on my spinal cord, which is where the brain sends the signals to the rest of your body how to move. He's like, if you don't get this done, you could possibly become paralyzed. The next day, I went in for surgery. They made an incision in the front. They stripped out the disc that was herniated, and then they put a synthetic disc in the metal plate to keep it in place, and then the bone of your spine will fuse with the synthetic disc, and that's my spinal column now.
Oh my gosh, that sounds insane.
It was such a shock because it all happened so fast. I remember him telling me, you're not going to be able to work out for a year. And I go, what? It just, everything hit all at once. At first, I was shocked. I was frustrated. I was depressed. So all the emotions. But now looking back, I realized it kind of set my path in another direction. And like, even just regards to training, it made me look at it in a whole new, different light. Like I was more aware about the little movements we do every day. I feel I got stronger because of that. I remember thinking, man, how limited am I going to be now? That wasn't the case. I got stronger than before.
Because you had to take it back, right?
Exactly.
After a year of not working out, take it back and rebuild and relearn everything.
It was a process.
I could see that rehab is one that you gear towards, because from experience, the experience of how to do that and what a client may need.
We're so used to having a certain quality of life and being able to move without even thinking about it, and to then be faced with a situation where I can't do what I used to do, and then trying to rebuild off of that. It teaches you a lot about yourself. It teaches you a lot about how to view life.
Because that's a huge identity that we had.
Exactly.
We're a trainer. We
so many layers.
We love fitness, and all of that was just cut.
Absolutely.
So you rebuild, regain, and started your business, and then somehow you ended up in Boundless. So it's a very interesting story.
Yes.
Let's have you share it.
See, during that time, I trained my clients in the garage gym, and I started to feel like there wasn't anything I could pinpoint that I felt was wrong per se, but I started to feel a discomfort, and it put me on the search, and I didn't even know what I was searching for. And I remember noticing that, there's this internal discomfort. Where is this coming from? And I started to try to find the root of it. And I started to understand, I was like, how well do I know myself?
Year is this?
2024. And then I started asking myself questions that on the surface, I think can feel scary and painful, because we're talking about things that have always kind of been there, but the mind has a interesting way of telling yourself not to face these things. And so that led me to searching for others who also were focused on this work. I did a quick Google search of gyms around the area, and I came across Boundless. I was reading the profile of Boundless, and I came across your background. You were focused on mind, body, and spirit, this whole holistic approach. And it wasn't just on the body. I found that very interesting. I reached out to you through email. I remember writing the email thinking it was like, what? He's gonna think it's weird. But I ignored all that and I just sent it. And then I got a response from you. We set up a time to meet. I remember being like, what? I didn't even know what I was gonna talk to you about. We met up, and I still remember to this day what you said to me. I think I was telling you what I was going through, and then you put your hand on my shoulder and you said, Aaron, you're changing.
You're changing.
Yes. I didn't really know what was going on. When you said it, I was like, I think I am changing, That was a big revelation to me. From there, we started to form this connection. You've been a source of much insight for me.
And it's interesting how life happens that way, because I was on a very similar journey where I was very into fitness and being one who just really wants to grow personally. So I started searching. And once I was introduced to it and had a big inner transformation, I knew right away that was a worthwhile pursuit. So for 10 years, that was my passion, my single pointed desire. So I spent whatever free time, extra savings I had on courses, retreats, and travels around the world to learn and have all these experiences.
Yeah.
At the beginning, when you came, you were a little lost, not
Yes.
sure what was
Yes.
happening, and couldn't explain why, and just wanted to see who else is out there, if you're alone or not.
Yeah.
We've been working with each other for some time. I can say that Aaron has transformed a lot since then. So much so that it makes me feel filled, and it reminds me of why I started Boundless in the first place, because I also wanted to do the fitness, but also introduce to everyone this well-being side. And be able to work with you and seeing that clear transformation, another spark of inspiration where something I've been wanting to do, the Boundless Within program. And then we started that this year. Aaron's been a part of it. He's been going through every session. And what the Boundless Within is a program to help you focus on your inner world. So a lot of times, everything we do is external. Most people don't even know about the inner world. Would you say you know about the
I
inner
did
world?
not know
before?
about the inner world. It was not on my radar. It's everything. I would have never thought that these words would be coming out of my mouth, because if you knew the older version of me, I was all about finding satisfaction in life through external things. It never filled the void though. I always knew this. And I don't even know how I found myself in a position to look inside, but I'm so glad I did. I see it relatable for everyone. And it's not because you want to get to a state of enlightenment, or you want to become a monk, or you're just a fan of meditation. It's really just to learn to really enjoy life. That's probably the biggest difference. I was going through life and it was fine, but I was missing so much of the things in life that make it so enjoyable. I was missing it.
Maybe give a few words of how you were, and then now, having done some work inside.
Mm-hmm. So previous to 2024, I didn't know myself like I know myself today, which sounds so funny, but I think that through our life experiences, we start to pick up things and we start to create a story for ourselves. And that story may or may not be true. So in my case, a lot of it was not true. And because I was believing a story that wasn't true, that caused myself to look at myself in a way where, to put it succinctly, I just wasn't loving myself like I should have. I put a lot of limitations on myself. My beliefs were distorted. Prior to 2024, I feel like I wasn't seeing life how I believe it to be really the life I'm living right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And all these limiting beliefs, distortions, none of these are outside. It's all internal, right? This is part of the inner world. And now all of that is getting cleared out, and now it just opens you up to really enjoy life.
Yes.
Right?
Absolutely.
I know everyone puts so much effort on the external world, whether it's their health, their career, financial state, their relationships, success, their family, their kids. But there's this just as important, this inner world where we neglect. And when we neglect it too long, it builds up until a discomfort that's just there, like, hey, I need your attention. Aaron, I need some help.
Yes.
Once that comes, that's reminding us, hey, please take care of this as well. So that's been my big journey in the past 10 years. That's been his journey within this past year. And the Boundless Within class is now helping people discover that side and also help them free themselves in there as well. What do you think about that program? You were there from the beginning and have done pretty much almost all the sessions.
So I remember attending the sessions. I remember it was like the second one. I just remember thinking that, man, I hope everybody understands the gold that you are sharing with them, because You know, I'm always big on trying to find the very roots of an issue. I want to see exactly what is the roots of where that issue is coming from. And I found that when I started to work on this internal world, everything else started to change.
I love that. So he's been taking the Boundless within. He's also a coach, and he's been inspired to like, Kevin, I love this. He's been taking some of the classes, and just the community you said is awesome.
Yeah.
What we're providing is awesome, and you know what? I would love to be a part of that. It works out perfectly because as an owner and with this vision of Boundless, it's been very tough to find a coach who is not only good in the fitness world, but to do the type of training that we do. We do so many different types, from Olympic lifting to power to calisthenics to CrossFit to strongman, and you have all of that and a ton of experience. Finding that was already a challenge. Finding someone else who also has this well-being side, that was difficult. And now having you go through that and seeing it for yourself and knowing the power of it through direct experience.
Yes. Absolutely.
So now we're bringing Erin on board. Allison's also the same. She has this wealth of fitness, and she had her inner work and going through yoga and see life in a different way. And Frank has also been taking the Boundless Within class. So now we're creating a team that is very well-rounded and can provide my vision 5 years ago of truly fitness and well-being. And I think this is where the real power of Boundless comes to light. And I'm excited because now we have a solid team, solid coaches, and a great community. What would you say about our community? Because you've been in the gym world longer than I have.
Yes. What you built here is something special. I've been to so many gyms over the course of my career, and telling you, it's different. And how is it different? It's beautiful out here. I just feel like they're connected in a way. There's no impersonalness. They're all encouraging one another, and there's just this positive energy. I even feel funny saying that, but that's what it is. And so, I think that's special. You go to another gym, there's a bunch of egos. It just feels disjointed. And there's just a connectedness here in the Boundless community, which, that is hard to create. And it says a lot about you, and it says a lot about the members of Boundless.
I'm so glad you said that, because someone who is from outside, who's also been in the industry, that says the same thing. Not just hearing it from me as a coach or the owner, but someone else.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Absolutely.
Is there any last remarks you want to say?
I would encourage the Boundless community to appreciate this beautiful thing that they're a part of. And all these things that we're doing, I think the most important thing is to do this inner work that Kevin's been talking about. Again, it's so relatable to everyone that wants to enjoy life, and who does not want to enjoy life? You know, I just feel like if you don't do the inner work, you're gonna miss out on so much. That's what I really feel. Yeah.
I feel the same. So this is Aaron. You'll see him in classes. If there is any personal training needs, Aaron has a wealth of experience and knowledge. And I'm excited for the next chapter and excited to have you with us.
I'm excited as well. Can't wait to meet all of you.
All right. Take care, guys.
Bye.
Bye.